and truthfully, somebody that I think is one of the most important voices in America tonight. And so let's get right into it. Welcome to the show, Qween Amor.
Hi.
We need to get Chris.
We need. I know how.
Yeah, make a note. We need a clap track. Yeah, we need it for like the studio audience. And Qween.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy.
It is such a pleasure. So, I've been following you for a long time. So we know what you're all about. But for those of us at home that are watching and introducing ourselves to you, tell us what it is that you do.
Well, I am a performance artist and an activist. Primarily, I utilize public space as a way to express myself and to confront systems of injustice. And the way that I do it is by appropriating religious iconography. And, and a lot of my work centers around this theme of rewriting this narrative and reimagining divinity in through a queer lens.
How did you end up unhoused?
So it was actually a choice. And I made this choice because at the time I was living in Orlando, I was in a relationship, and that relationship imploded. And I had felt like I was not who I was supposed to be, that I was this caricature of myself that was built upon the ideas of what the world wanted for me. And when that relationship ended, I was given an opportunity to either continue that or make a radical change in my life and, try to see if there was more to my life than what I was given. And so I bought a van. I quit school. and I packed up a bunch of costumes and a speaker, because at the time I was also kind of understanding music to be a language. And so I was playing with this idea of being able to communicate with people using music. It started off as drag. And what shifted for me was when my van caught on fire. So that was my house.
That was a really good pivot. That was great. Okay, so the van caught on fire.
The universe made a decision here.
Right. And how did that happen?
Pretty clear.
So I had actually started a caravan between for occupiers to get from DC to New York and back and forth because we were missing our court dates and we were getting arrested left and right. And I used my van to kind of transport people back and forth. And on this one trip, I overstuffed my van with 17 people, like it was like a Mexican clown car.
Whoa.
And as I'm like turning off the highway from getting into Baltimore, my van kind of tipped over a little bit. And
tipped over a little bit. Tipped over a little bit. Before you go on,
we had to take a pit stop at a repair shop.
Yeah, so like I have pictured in my head what tipped over a little bit means to me. What is it? Like a show of your forearm.
What angle?
How much was it tipped over? That was more than I thought.
Yeah. Well, yeah, without it fully tipping, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So get to the repair shop in Baltimore, and we leave thinking that everything was going to be fine. We're going to make it to New York.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes after we left that repair shop, we get into the highway, and next thing you know, there's smoke coming from the vents. And then, so we stop, and my entire engine turned into a firestorm.
Oh my God.
Like fire
see that?
shooting out of the hood of, like, I lifted up the hood of the car, and like fire. And so like everybody gets out of the van, and the only thing that I was able to like actually like consciously like salvage was a suitcase and my speaker. And what ended up happening was I grabbed the wrong suitcase, and instead of grabbing the suitcase with all of my clothes, I grabbed the suitcase with all of my costumes.
Qween Amor was made. Let there be light.
You know, so like, but luckily I was with a bunch of, so we were all occupiers, and this thing in Occupy was spanging and busking. And, which is what really got me started on, you know, dancing in the street and being able to get out of my comfort level. Which is what I think the universe just kind of decided that, yo, you need this. I wasn't alone either. I had a bunch of people around me, you know, and at the time it was winter in DC. So like we were sleeping outside the stairs on the sidewalk, but I was with other people and we were fighting for a cause, and it was okay. And like, it was fine. But I was also broke, eating fucking trash, like eating food out of the garbage cans, and which I'll tell you that you can survive off the waste of society.
Yeah, I had this brilliant artist that I worked with for a while that she was a freakin', and she would often, for a long time, I didn't know she was a freakin', but every time she would come to the show, which was a late night show, you know, and every time she would come to the show, she would bring a bunch of muffins, and she'd always be like, "Hey, you want a muffin?" And I'd always be like, "Yeah, thank you. Actually, I need a muffin right now. I'm eating muffins." And then I realized that she had been taking them out of the garbage on her way to work. So I have sustained off of garbage food.
It's not really garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's the truth.
So Qween Amor was born as a performance artist out of this circumstance where we are left post-fire with only costumes and a portable speaker. And I'll tell you that, like, early on, enough about me. But I have always been very, very fascinated with like a speaker that you can just take with you and bother everybody with it. And it's like, and then now everybody has one. And there's a real set of standards that goes along with that, right? Like everybody could just blast their telephone call or their favorite music to everybody on the train or everybody on the sidewalk, right? And some of them do, but most of them don't. And a lot of them are like, how dare you do that? You can't just do that. You know how many times I've wanted to do that I haven't done that. So
you should do that.
Yeah, this is all to say that was one of the things that struck me in the beginning, was that it was so like reduced to like the bar to entry to do what you were doing was guts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's the thing I want to dig into, because Qween, as you're talking, I didn't know this about Occupy Wall Street for you. That was actually, I was in New York. It was like my second year living there, and it was my first time like really participating in action. Yeah. And I was at the new school, and so I was participating with like the school union and stuff, because I was also a student worker. And you know, I certainly was not leading the way that you were. You know, I was not the person with the mic, but given where I grew up, how I grew up, like I felt like it took guts for me to walk out of class the first time, you know, to like talk to all the people, the unhoused folks who were at the core of, you know, all of the organizing that was happening, everything that I was participating in. And gosh, I was an adult, so I'd love to hear more like those guts that you have. What's that looked like in your whole life? Like, did you have that when you were a kid?
Yeah, where did those guts come from?
Well, if I had to say, you know, I grew up very poor. And I was kind of, my guts come from the need to survive. And you know, I think my life would be different if, you know, there was, you know, if I was given, you know, opportunity, like, you know, if I wasn't kicked out of my house at 17, you know, if
Right.
you know, I didn't have to, you know, live on the margins early on. And I think that kind of set a foundation of resilience for me. And but I mean, even for me to like the very first time that I went on the street and I was like, yeah, I can't keep eating out of garbage cans. Like, I can't keep doing this. And you know, and it was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable, but also like, you know, I knew that it was an experience that I needed. Yeah. And, you know, and I was like, well, you know, everybody else here is busking. You have, you know, I have people, you know, friends right now who are on the corner playing guitars and singing, you know, on corners, and they're making money, you know. And there was also this other busker, his name was Nietzsche, and he was a DJ. So he had this whole DJ set up with like lights and shit, and he'd like take a corner and like DJ. And I'm like, I have no excuse here. Like, I can do this. So I put on my costumes, you know, and
do you remember what your first costume was?
Yes. So I was in a black onesie.
Yes, I love it.
It was like a black leotard outfit with this like pink, or like this like it wasn't pink, it was like gold. This gold cross that was on like that I made out of like a headband, and it was at Columbus Circle, or Columbus, you know, Columbus Square down in DC, and I was dancing to Journey, and and
that's how they all get their start.
It was a crowd of people, and I was making money, and I was like, okay, well, I can make this work, you know, like. And, you know, at the time I was like 24 years old, you know, so I had the energy and the stamina and the endurance. So like after I realized that it was successful and like, okay, well, I'm not going to get beat up. That's going to come much later.
Yeah, right. And we'll get into that, believe me. And maybe a good way to get to that is to back it up even further, because we did a lot of pre-interviews, so I know a little bit about how you were kicked out as a child, and I understand that that was tied to maybe your coming out story. So could you talk with us a little bit about that story and your Zanga blog?
So from a very early age, I have always been very feminine and very flamboyant, and there was just no hiding that. There was no masculinating me. It wasn't possible, and and from very early on, you know, I always had a conscious attraction to men, and I knew who I was in kindergarten, you know, but for me, it was normal, you know. It wasn't until I started getting older that I started becoming aware that, oh, there's something people don't like, or there's something, there's a problem here, and I can get in trouble for this. And
Get in trouble for that.
yeah.
I just want to let that resonate for a second. You were afraid to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Okay, proceed.
And you know, so you know, from that moment where I became aware that I could be punished for this, or for feeling this way. I kept it in, you know, and you know, I remember Jerry Springer being the first window that I had into queerness, and my first you know, being how I was introduced to trans people and how I was introduced to gay people, and the way that you know, and then seeing the way that my stepfather would respond to those episodes, it made it perfectly clear that this was not okay. And
That'll teach you fast and quick.
You know, and it's like it seems obvious to me, like the way that they were portrayed, but I never thought that might be somebody's first introduction to queerness, and then furthermore to have that blatant disrespect, that objectification of it by these shows, and then to have that reinforced in even a more negative way by your parental figure, like pointing and demanding like you get along with the joke on these people, like how torturous, how absolutely torturous.
If I don't get in on the joke, then
you're exposing yourself.
You know, I'm you know, right. I'm now you know, now I am the joke. And I've always, you know, growing up, I was always bullied. And you know, all throughout my grade school and up until high school. And I would go to school and I'd get bullied, and then I'd come home and I'd get bullied. Yeah, and right. You know, so it was, I had to find an outlet for myself. And, you know, just to cope, because, you know, and at the same time all this was happening, you know, there was also other, you know, you know, there were episodes of Sally Jesse Raphael, who, you know, had positive representations of queer people. And then RuPaul came into the scene, and, you know, she, you know, and that was another representation. And, you know, there was these, so I was getting mixed messages, you know, but I knew that this was not okay in my household, that the people that are supposed to take care of me are not okay with this. And this I knew, you know, so I had, you know, and then I got into high school. When I got into high school, you know, I had tried so hard to make friends and tried so hard to like fit in with people, but like I couldn't. And I couldn't because I was lying to myself. And I think people understood that I was lying to myself. And, you know, because it was obvious, you know, it's not like, you know, whatever that meant as a teenager, you know, because you can't see outside of yourself. And this is way before video phones existed. So it's not like you can like record me on a cell phone, you know, and, you know, so that I can see myself. I can't see myself. I have no idea. So my outlet was to write was to journal. And I would journal these erotic fantasies of me with other men. And I had this one fantasy of my neighbor, and he was so cute. I had such a huge crush on him. And the you know, and the fantasy wasn't just like, oh, he you know, invited me over and you know, asked me you know, and you know, we started fooling around, you know. I took it like.
Well, if not that,
no,
what?
it's not like if I'm gonna make it up, I'm gonna make it good and we're gonna be dramatic about it. What I had written was that we were having sex, but also we were including his life-size blow-up Kindle. And so I had a journal full of over dramatic and over sexualized fantasies of me, and sex, and because that was just so out of reality for me. I'm getting in. I just started puberty. And I'm horny, and I don't know what to do with it. And what am I do? So I wrote it down, and I made a thing about it. And so I took this journal. It was a Zanga, and it was a blog that I had made. And then I printed all of it out, and I put it in a binder, and I made it into a book. And then I took that book, and I passed it. I gave it to the one person in high school that would actually speak to me. And I gave it to her, and I told her, I was like, listen, pass this around to your friends, and then tell them just to give it around. So next thing you know, within a few days, this book, this journal is circulating throughout the whole high school.
Of your deepest, darkest fantasies about fucking a blow-up doll with your neighbor.
And that is how I came out. Next thing you know, I was the cool kid.
Of course. And shouldn't that teach everybody a fucking lesson that social suicide is sometimes the way, right? Because you found yourself. Yeah. And I swear to God, I've never heard something so badass. Please, Mallory.
Oh, well, yeah, that just to go back to they can tell. I love what you said earlier, that you were lying to yourself and people could feel that. What a great, cool. Mallory? Oh, can you not hear me?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay.
I was standing at Chris to cut to you. I was pretending to be Mallory.
You should have done some ventriloquism. Anyways, I love there's real poetry in that you were lying to yourself and had no friends and that was your experience. And then of course I don't want to say of course because I don't think just anybody could do that, but I'm unsurprised that you did that and it worked out that way.
Yeah, and they it's not once it was out there, no one had anything to bully me about now.
Yeah,
right.
It's out there, and now everybody knows. And now I have friends, and now I'm being asked to go over to Blockbuster and smoke pot. Let's dip on this class and let's
yes, now you're a teenage delinquent, baby.
Yeah,
Hail Satan.
For me, it was liberating for me at the time to have social interactions and to know that I'm not wrong, to know that there's nothing, I don't have to feel there's something wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with me, and that these people actually did accept me. So at which point I found an escape from my home life because there was a lot of abuse and there was a lot of there was a lot of heaviness as a teenager being there.
So how did your family take the Zanga profiles?
So it's not like the internet was just born, so it's not like they knew how to use a computer. I was the only one in the house.
But I mean, did they feel any of the ripples from the high school?
My mom found my book.
Your mom found your book?
Yeah, she found my journal. She went through my backpack. I have to imagine she went through my backpack because she was looking for money that I did not have. Like, what does she think I was doing? Like,
Uh-huh.
she's not giving me any lunch money. Like, I'm on school free lunch, what
Right.
do you think I'm getting money from? But she went through my backpack. She found my journal. And at which point she very secretly came up to me and she was like, listen, I need to take you to the doctor. And I think in her mind, she was so terrified that I was actually doing these things. I wasn't doing these things. I went, I got an STD test and all the things. And in her defense, and this is why she was scared. So my brother's father and his brother, so my brother's uncle, went to a bar one night back in the 80s, and they went to a gay bar. And
those were the best bars in the 80s, I've heard.
They found a gay man and pretended that they were interested in him. And when he went to go with them, they murdered him.
What?
And put him in a laundry, in a washer, and stuffed his body in a washer and stuck it and threw it in a river. And the police found someone came across the washer and found the body. And
it doesn't matter, but like a washing machine,
like a washing machine,
like a laundry machine, and then they put him in
the machine and sent him down the river. And my brother's uncle, there was evidence that they were able to find to 100% convict him. And my brother's father took a lesser charge because he was an accessory to it, and he didn't actually kill the guy, but he was there when he did it.
Jesus fucking Christ!
This
is the America. I'm sorry, Queen, but why are you surprised where we are right now?
I'm not.
Why are you not you? You. Why, if any of you, are surprised where we are right now? We have just been accepting the worst of each other.
Yeah.
We have not allowed people to live up to their own decent standards. And then for that to infect you as a child, to of all of the heroes of your family's lore to see yourself in, and it's a man inside of a washer in a riverbed. What the fuck?
Yeah. And so she had as an adult, I know why she was scared.
Of course.
And but at the time I didn't know this, and we didn't have this conversation until much later.
Yeah.
And
you're also a kid. You're also her kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And despite everything, me and my mother, we had some very serious issues. But I know that my sexuality and my gender was not one of those issues. It was an issue for my stepfather, and I knew it would be because he was the one making the comments on the Jerry Springer shows, and he had always expressed this. He had always dehumanized this community, and I was part of it. And I begged her to not tell him. I begged her. I was, please do not tell him. This can be between us, but the whole house doesn't need to know it. And she felt obligated to tell him because they had a very codependent relationship. They told each other everything. He knew everything about her life, and for them this was love. and she had a way of always choosing him over her kids. And so when it came, when he found out that I was gay, and way before I was trans, but also like, I'm in high school and I'm painting my nails, different colors, and I'm shaving my legs and I'm shaving my armpits and I'm doing all these things. And my mom's like, "What are you doing? Eugene's going to be sick." I was like, "Well, fuck him."
I'm a swimmer, Mom.
I come home with nail polish, and then Eugene would beat me for it. So it reinforced this, but also at the time, I just found, people like me, and I can be, I'm having these experiences, and at the end of the day, and I'm going to school, and I'm telling my friends that this motherfucker's a piece of shit. Right. And, they're like, well, fuck him. And so I'd come back home and I'd be like, well, fuck you. And
how'd that happen? How'd that work out?
Yeah. So because I was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And they couldn't actually legally put me out of the house.
Right.
It first started off with them, putting me in a mental institution. They would Baker Act me over, over the summer, so that they didn't have to I didn't have to be home. And then
cool.
Summer would end, and
can you forgive me? I like to go slow.
Okay.
Can you? So this was the first time that you were institutionalized?
I was institutionalized for the first time at 14.
At 14.
Yeah. And then when they realized that was no longer working, so now I'm 16 years old. I went to the Covenant House. They put me in the Covenant House. And the Covenant House... Can
you explain what the Covenant House is? Yeah, so maybe you were about to.
Yeah, so the Covenant House was in Fort Lauderdale Beach, and it was a shelter for runaway youth. And, or youth that were having problems at home. And for a lot of the youth, the plan was family reunification. That and it was all charity based, and it was Catholic.
Cool.
I
bet it worked.
I will say that, and I didn't know it at the time, but the Covenant House actually did play a very big role in setting me up with some things that I actually really did need at the time.
Was this the introduction to religion to you?
No, actually. In fact, even though the Covenant House was a Catholic charity, there was actually no religious indoctrination within it at all. In fact, I didn't really start exploring religion until much later on. And it was actually because of my relationship and the conversations that we would have pertaining to certain ideas that we would kind of bounce off each other.
You mean inside of the Occupy Wall Street?
Well, before, I was in this relationship with this guy, and we loved each other, and we had these very spiritual and philosophical conversations. And
you gotta light those candles and get it all out every once in a while.
And there are things that it's I will say that the Covenant House didn't really have much influence on me in that.
Okay.
My first time at the Covenant House was, since Baker acting me was no longer an option for them, they found the Covenant House. And, so my first time at the Covenant House, it was, primarily, troubled youth who, had issues within their families, or girls that had gotten pregnant and had nowhere to go, or homeless kids.
Yeah. Right.
And my first go around, the plan was family reunification, and I was there for maybe about 3 or 4 months, and put right back into my home,
Yeah,
which
right.
was
Which did you prefer?
honestly the Covenant House, because there was a significant amount of abuse that I endured at home, that I finally realized that this is not okay. And, and it came from my stepfather. He was very physically abusive. He was mentally abusive. And, so like, as I got older, I was no longer tolerable of it. When I had turned 17, I had finally gotten to my first relationship. His name was Eddie. And, it was like high school love, I was very, now that everybody, my family knows that I'm gay at this point, I was very transparent. Hey, I have a boyfriend, and I'm not ashamed of that, because the only place that I'm experiencing shame from being gay is here.
Yeah.
So on my 17th birthday, I went to, I spent the weekend with Eddie, and my mother called me on the phone, and she's like, hey, well, she called Eddie's phone because I didn't have a cell phone at the time, but I did give them his number so they can get a hold of me. And she called Eddie, and I answered, and I was like, oh, hey, I'll let you know when I'm coming home. So I caught the bus. I'm on my way home. When I get there are cops waiting at the house, and I guess earlier, a few days before, my stepfather got really drunk, and he punched my mother in the face. And he was the superintendent of the building that we lived in, so he didn't have to pay rent. And when I came back, they blamed it on me and said that I physically assaulted my mother so that Eugene would not be held accountable for it, and they could legally have me removed from the house. So I spent 21 days in DJJ, and on the third day of me being there, my parents were supposed to come and talk to the judge, and I was thinking that like they were just gonna let me come and like we'll take him home. That was not the case. My mother came in and told the judge that she felt that I was a threat to her safety, and that I could not come back to the house, and that that the courts needed to find somewhere for me to go. The audacity of Eugene and my stepfather to be standing there crying about it, when at the end of the day, this is your idea. And the fact
how did that feel to be inside
to
of
be
the courtroom?
shackled in front of
yes, and to be sold out by your mother.
And your stepfather.
It was heartbreaking, because
how do you love again after that?
It was hard, and that affected a lot of my ability to really love myself, and it affected my ability to, I guess, form relationships later on, because at that moment I realized that me and my mother had a problem. And
wait a second. Wait. You and your mother had a problem. You had a problem. I mean, the way that I'm hearing this story, it's like you had a problem. Your mother was the problem.
Yeah.
And in fact, like the fact that she is... Okay, so let's get to this. So the fact that she is letting this man do this to you, Okay. But
That
as I say that, and this is I don't mean to cut you off, but as I say that, I think I got to check myself here because am I victim blaming? Right? Like what is going on? How bad does it need to be for her to sell out her child like
if you
this?
knew her story.
Yeah, right. Right.
So
Making
my mother,
excuses for the men in our life.
so my mother, I think it's crazy.
Okay, give it
So
to me.
my grandmother, my grandmother shot and killed my uncle's father.
You have two murders in your family?
So
I don't even have one.
So my grandmother shot and killed my uncle's father while he was at a karaoke bar. And
What? What was he singing?
not sure, but my uncle actually ended up on her deathbed. I found out later, saying to her the Bohemian Rhapsody. Mama just killed a man. Put a gun against his head.
No. You know that she had been holding on to that for a long time. She was like, she said a reminder, like on the deathbed, make sure you do this song.
So
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail.
My grandmother went to prison for like 15 years, and my mother was
Jesus
left
Christ.
in the care of her aunt and her aunt's husband, Bob. And
Yeah.
Bob would come in late
Hey,
at night
Bob.
and he would molest her. And he did this for years. He did this. And when she finally told me this, she remembers like she would have sleepovers. And in the sleepovers, it was like a break for her because he would come in and he would touch her friends instead of her. And when her grandma died, when my mom's grandmother died, Grandma Mitchell, and this was the only time that she ever actually really had love in her life. Grandma Mitchell left her a trust fund of $500,000. And back in the 70s, that was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It would have set her for life. Instead, her trust fund ended up in the hands of Bob, the man that was abusing her. And when she finally came clean about it, they gaslit her. They institutionalized her for it. They blamed her. And from there, she turned to drugs. You have to remember that the internet didn't exist. Community didn't exist.
Right.
So where do you go when you have this burden on you, you know? And
Mallory, I know that this is I'm watching you, and I know that this is resonating with you. I can see it. So, like from a different angle, can you? I'm interested in your thoughts about this.
I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I'm relating deeply, and also I appreciate you slowing down because I also like you're sharing. I honored that you're sharing so much, and it's like not light to talk about, let alone here. And I want us to like all be taking care of each other too, and doing this slowly. As I appreciate you checking in, Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, different story, but I have sexual abuse and my history, and also parents. It's, kind of deeply embedded in my family, I think, and in lots of families. I am still in the work of trying to hold all of the complexities of both of my parents and the harm that was done to me and my sister and those around us, because my mom, because my dad raised Catholic, sexually abused as a kid, never healed, also raised as a man in a, you know, small white up and coming family community, took it out on all of the women around him, me and my sister and my mom. And my mom, I guess what I'm like, I'm like excavating her life so much always to try and make sense of how she kept choosing him over my safety, you know? And I have actually think like a deep understanding. It doesn't make the pain of holding that any less, but you know, it's a fucking wicked web, especially, I mean, for me, it's deeply tied to Catholicism and like mothers and husbands and the relationship there, and where his pride, his ego, his penis, his pleasure, his everything comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the resulting gaslighting that happens, again, you're talking, you know, just it's poison isn't a big enough word, you know?
It's you know, toxic isn't a big enough word, and it's generational trauma.
It's generational through millennia.